Alright guys, it's Stephen here on BlueMoonRisingTV and it's the transfer target, and we've got a few new names for you today, but first we've got a familiar one, Leroy Sané. Now today there's been a little bit of news about that. Apparently, and this is according to Bilder, who one of the biggest German newspapers, they've said that Schalke are bracing themselves for a £39.6 million bid for Manchester City. That's a very specific amount. There seems to be something in this. Obviously we've been linked to him since last January. Even Marca, a very big Spanish paper, was saying that City could be likely to confirm a deal pretty soon. Don't think it's quite as developed as that. I think Bilder are probably a little bit closer towards it, and they've had connections before, and they were the first to break the De Bruyne news. I think it's going to be a situation where Schalke will consider the bid, they'll be prepared for Man City putting an official offer, and we'll maybe see a little bit of news of this after the Euros. I think it'll take a little bit of time for this to develop. He very much fits in what Pep wants in terms of very young, very skillful, very direct, and it's definitely one to keep an eye on. So this is going to kind of stay roughly around the outer rings for now, but it's definitely one to keep an eye on, and one that City, I think, want to happen at some point in the future. On to another player, and this is a new name for us on the transfer target, and it's Nolito. Now, if you don't know much about him, he's a Spanish winger. He's currently the Euro squad for Spain. He's 29 years old. He plays for Celta Vigo, and allegedly, he has a release clause of £14 million, which is pretty cheap. I know there's been some hesitation about his age. I've seen it flying around, City fans saying maybe they don't want him, but I guess you have to trust Pep's instinct here. This one does seem to have some legs to it because it's kind of come out of nowhere. And when a name like that is just plucked seemingly from the ether, then you have to kind of wonder if there is something to this. I looked at his stats, he's got 96 chances created last year, which is actually the best in all of Spain. He made 13 assists last season, only behind Ronaldo and Messi, and level with James Rodriguez, and he seems to be a good player. I don't know if this will go anywhere, but I think there's something in this, so we'll kind of put him just inside the outer rings for now, because there seems to be enough weight behind this, and it's kind of one of those random transfers that seems to make sense, because sometimes that just happens. You hear a player and you think, well, where's this come from? It's too odd to be true. I just have to trust Pep's judgment on this one. And another one, which would maybe have to trust Pep's judgment on, is Victor Valdes. Now, Sid Lowe, who's I think the Guardian Spanish journalist, he tweeted yesterday that City are in for Valdes. It's not surprising if it's true, because City have been linked to goalkeepers all summer. If you think of Ederson, Rulli, Ter Stegen, and with Caballero probably like to leave, Richard Wright retired. Have a good retirement, Richard. Then there is a space for a keeper there. Would it be a good idea? Is it likely? Well, Pep has obviously worked with him before in the past. Pep does trust him, and he is on a free transfer. We do need a keeper. I'm going to keep it on the outer rings for now, but I think there is something here in this. I think maybe it's a good idea, but then he hasn't played football properly for 2 years. But once again, it is one that has some substance to it because of the links with Pep and Barcelona. And obviously, he can play that kind of technical kind of goalkeeping that he likes. Would it be enough to put Hart under pressure? That's questionable given the fact he hasn't played much football. But once again, I think this will be one that kind of unravels with a little bit more time. And there's another name actually, and it's not technically a transfer here, but it's something that you were all asking about yesterday. Yoya Boa is a young Manchester City attacker who's on loan at Lille in the French division. Now, I know a little bit about him myself because I followed the academy stuff, and he's one of the players that we signed from the Right to Dream Academy in Ghana, and he went immediately on loan to Lille. He's only young still, he's absolutely tiny, very fast, very skillful, but he's only played 5 games for Lille. And apparently he said, and the quotes have been online, that Pep's been in touch with him and wants him to be involved next season. Now, that's quite a dramatic statement. How true that is, we don't really know yet. It could be one of those things that's lost in translation, and it could have been a situation where he said he just wants to look at him in pre-season. It could even be work permit problems there, which is the reason why he went to France in the first place. But we'll see on that one. But it's definitely something to keep an eye on. He's a good little player, very skillful, kind of can play it off the striker or kind of out wide on the right hand side, cutting in with his left foot, or he can play through the middle. So that's one to keep an eye on at least. Have you heard of any transfer rumours? Is there anyone you want us to talk about on the Nets for this transfer target? Do you think Nolito would be a good signing? And is he being considered as well as Sané, or is it one or the other? It's hard to tell at the moment, but I think there's a lot of names flying around. Hopefully we'll get some answers soon. And anyway, if you haven't already, obviously subscribe below, because we'll be doing daily updates as ever on all transfers, all rumours, and all things Manchester City. Drop a like on the video, get in the comments below, and we'll see you soon.